All right, let's talk about retrospectives. For so many of us, that team meeting is supposed to be where the magic happens, where we improve. But let's be honest, a lot of the time, it just feels like a chore. The good news? There's a way to flip the script and turn these meetings from something you dread into a real engine for growth.
Does this hit a little too close to home? Yeah. This quote from Diana Larson pretty much nails a feeling a lot of us have had. It's a huge problem because if your team is thinking this, you can pretty much forget about making any real improvements. But hey, admitting there's a problem is the first step, right?
So before we can fix our retros, we've got to figure out why they fall apart in the first place. The book we're digging into today, Fun Retrospectives, points to a few really common ways these things go off the rails.
And here are the usual suspects. First, maybe the leader just stops. They get busy and the meetings just fade away. Or the team has these amazing ideas for improvements, but there's no backup from the wider organization, so everyone just gets frustrated. And the big one, you get stuck in a rut, using the same what went well, what went wrong format every single time.
And this brings us to the core idea here. The solution isn't just to play games to pass the time. It's about using engaging and, fun activities as a tool. A tool to build a focused, structured meeting where your team can actually dig in, learn something new, and walk away with real commitments.
So how do you actually build that structure? Well, the book lays out this super simple but really powerful 7-step agenda. Think of it like your blueprint, your recipe for a successful retrospective that you can use over and over again. Let's walk through it.
So here's the game plan. You see, it's a whole cycle. You start by setting the stage with the context and the prime directive. Then you get everyone warmed up and present with an energizer and a check-in. The real heavy lifting happens in the main course. After that, you filter all those ideas down to what truly matters, and you wrap up with a checkout so everyone knows the plan. Every single step has a job to do.
Now, out of all those steps, you could argue that the prime directive is the most important one. You read this out loud at the start of every retro, and its whole purpose is to create what we call psychological safety. The idea is simple. We're assuming everyone came to work to do a good job. This isn't about letting people off the hook. It's about creating a rule of engagement that separates the person from the problem. It is absolutely non-negotiable if you want people to be honest.
Okay, a great structure is one thing, but it's nothing without great content, right? So now that we have our 7-step blueprint, let's look at a few specific activities from the book that you can actually plug into that framework to bring it to life. Let's start with that check-in step. The purpose here is really simple. You're just taking the temperature of the room. Before you jump into big, complicated topics, you kind of need to know where everyone's head is at. Are they engaged? Are they stressed out? Are they worried?
And a perfect example of this is the safety check. It could not be simpler. You just ask everyone to anonymously write down a number from 1 to 5. A 5 means I feel totally safe to talk about anything, and a 1 means you're not getting a word out of me.
And this, right here, shows you why it's so powerful. As the person running the meeting, you get an immediate, honest snapshot of how safe the team feels. If you see results like this with a bunch of 4s and 5s, you're good to go. But if you saw a lot of 1s or 2s, that's your signal to stop, switch gears, and talk about the safety issue itself before you go any further.
All right, let's get to the heart of the meeting, the main course. This is where you're going to spend most of your time. The whole goal here is to use a creative activity to help the team look at their work from a fresh perspective and pull out some new insights.
So instead of the same old what went well, try something like the speed car metaphor. What's our engine? What are the things really pushing us forward? And what's our parachute? The things that are slowing us down. It's amazing how just reframing the question like this helps people think differently and uncovers problems you might have missed otherwise.
But we can take this even deeper. If you want to avoid a conversation that's all over the place, the book suggests this really clever technique. You combine the activity's main columns with different perspective colors. Let me just show you what I mean by that.
Check this out. Instead of just one big bucket for what went well, you create a grid. You ask the team, okay, what went well when it comes to people? What about our process and our tools? This simple grid puts some guardrails on the conversation, and it forces a much deeper, more organized discussion.
So, after all these fun activities and clever structures, what's the real point of all this? Well, it's about connecting that feeling of engagement all the way through to actual, tangible improvements for the team. That's the real payoff. What you're really trying to create is this powerful chain reaction. It all starts by fostering that safe environment. That safety lets people share real, actionable insights. Those insights lead to meaningful improvement.
You see, the fun part isn't the goal, it's the spark that gets his whole engine running, and it strengthens the whole team in the process. And that brings us to the final question, the one I want you to take back to your own team. I want you to ask yourself, honestly, is your retrospective just another meeting on the calendar you have to get through? Or is it a powerful engine for growth?
I'm going to leave you with this fantastic quote from the book. It's a little cheeky, but it's so true. It's a reminder that when you feel like you're too busy for a retrospective, that's probably when you need one the most. Making time to improve isn't a distraction from the work, it's the very thing that makes the future work better.